Hey, deserving listeners, it's time for the 14th installment of us showing how to use Dungeons & Dragons in therapy to help people with their self-esteem, their self-identity, their social skills, their ability to feel like they can do things, like they actually have agency in the world. And because Dungeons & Dragons is a wonderful game, and Adam Johns and Adam Davis have transformed it into a game that actually can be used therapeutically, and they've been doing that work for many years at Game to Grow. Welcome to this podcast. Let's all introduce ourselves after I introduce the podcast. This is called Psychology in Seattle. I'm your host, Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. Who are you, Umberto?
My name is Umberto Castañeda, and I play Grollo the Cruel.
Adam Davis, who are you?
My name is Adam Davis. I'm a founder and executive director of Game to Grow, and I play Shoosh, who's a tiefling bard.
And Johns, who are you?
My name is Adam Johns. I'm also co-founder and executive director of Game to Grow, and I am the game master of this. I'm the chef of this omelet buffet of players.
And if you're new to this series, I encourage you to go back to episode 1 of the Dungeons & Dragons Therapy. And if you're looking for one page with all of those, you can go to our website, psychologyinseattle.com, click on the by category, I believe, and go to the Dungeons & Dragons tab, and all the episodes will be there. So Adam Johns, our Dungeon Master, please take us away.
Awesome. As is always the case, I always like to start off with a check-in question for us to think about for yourself and for your character. And today's check-in question is going to start us off a little dark, so I'm hoping you guys will stick with me through this experience. My check-in question for you today is: what rituals do you want at your funeral? So specifically, I want to think about like funerals. Big events in our lives are often surrounded by ritual. They're surrounded by the things that we do that are the in many ways the routine, but the ways in which we pass along some of our culture, some of our ideas, some of the things that we really want to have in those events. So when we go to weddings, they're full of ritual. They're full of many things. And even though you might do a wedding only once in your life, many of the things you do at a wedding are rituals that are passed down generationally from your family and other things. So my question today is like I said, a little darker, but is: what rituals do you want to have at your funeral? So what things would you like to request if you were going to put this in your last will and testament, that you would say, here's what I want my funeral to look like, or here's a thing I want you to make sure to have at my funeral? And the same question, of course, extending to your character as well.
Well, aside from everyone wailing for, 3 days plus at the beginning to about how much they can't live without me, really what, I've never thought about this before, but it's a great question. I think that I would want people to tell stories about our lives together, and I would want them to not shy away from saying things that are embarrassing about me or that make me look bad. One thing's the best funerals I've been to or memorials I've been to have been ones in which people are free to talk crap about the person a little bit. To say like, well, yeah, I mean, she was a wonderful lady and we all loved her and we all know how nice she was, but she was a little racist at times or something. And those moments I find to be delightful. And when it's the opposite, like it's all positive, I'm like, okay, we all know that's not true. No one's 100% awesome. I mean, give me the full breadth of this human being. But not just about me. I would want people to share stories, about groups of us doing things, And for Thrain, I mean, obviously he's involved in a lot of rituals, including memorials and funerals. I guess what he would want would be people, because he's also pretty modest. I'm guessing he would just want the very typical subdued dwarven Moradin ceremony, which involves not a lot of talking and eventually a lot of drinking and a lot of slapping each other on the back, and maybe an occasional fight while you're drunk that night. But during the day, it's just a lot of somber church action with anvils and hammers and old ancient dwarven chanting.
I love it. That is perfect.
That makes sense.
Well, it's a lot of that like chanting where it's like got that like like very deep resonant harmonic chanting.
Yeah, and then every once in a while, just like crack,
Yeah, it's very Monty Python.
Yeah,
Crack.
Perfect. How about Adam? What would you like to have it? Rituals in your
I'm going to take this super dark question and flip it around a little bit, and you can analyze me as much as you want because of it. I would have a taco bar at my funeral. I feel like it's really important. I love the what Kirk said around telling stories. At my grandmother's funeral, my cousin gave a speech and was talking about how you, I think it's according to sort of Mexican tradition, you don't die when you stop breathing, and you don't die when you are buried. You officially die when people stop telling stories about you, and I love that idea. But at my personal funeral, I would want a taco bar, because I feel like the most true way that I would like to go into the afterlife is by having a group of people celebrate something that I love so much, and that is taco bars. I had one at my wedding. Speaking of weddings, just people can just go along the line and grab a tortilla and make their own taco, and every taco can have a mixture of textures and flavors, the way that taco bars are meant to inspire us all to celebrate the richness, the vast tapestry that is the human experience. That is the taco bar that I want at my own funeral.
Adam's major events throughout his life are centered on taco bar. Adam's birth and wedding and death will all be centered around taco bar.
Yeah, I wish that there were more rites of passage that I could have had in my life, because like if I had a bar mitzvah, wouldn't that have been cool to have another excuse for a taco bar?
Yeah.
Not my cultural heritage, unfortunately. It's taco bar mitzvah. That's amazing. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I need to have another rite of passage just so I can have another taco bar before I kick the bucket. For Shush, I think he would. As a bard, I think he would really enjoy having people gather, because I think Shush's core need in his life is to feel like he matters to people. So I think having people show up at his funeral would be really great. And I think he would love for people to sing songs together in community. Honestly, I saw this great video from an Irish wedding that came across my Twitter feed or something like that, where people, it's like 4 a.m. and people are still singing songs in the round. They're like call and response songs. And I think Shush that would be the ideal situation for his funeral, is like people not going home. They would stay there and they would do like very like call and response songs that would be maybe songs that he wrote. I think that would make him very happy, but I don't think it matters as much as people being around and like coming together in honoring his presence in their lives. I think that would be a meaningful thing for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
And it makes sense. I could totally see music being. So for me personally, Live and Let Die. You've seen
Live and Let Die.
Yeah, so like, you know how it starts with in New Orleans, and at first they're all like, it's the procession, and everyone's like, I want some criers for sure. Like I want professional criers, like, Berto. But then on cue,
I'll be there. I'll do that for you.
I love it. Then on cue, ta-ta-ta-ta-dum, and then everyone starts dancing salsa and merengue and like fiesta. And like, not happy that I died or something, just like celebrating life. And then they can tell stories like, do you remember that time when Berto like thought it would be funny to like open his parachute early, and then it got caught up in the wing of the plane, and then like the plane crashed, and then he was part of the crash because his parachute obviously never opened. Do you remember? Oh yeah, that's why we're here. That kind of thing. And then as far as and then great food and pictures and stuff of friends and things, and then as far as Grollo, It's quite a bit different, actually. I think Grollo would want like a pretty what do you call it? A stoic setting. You know, like a plain rock with like maybe a little, maybe his mallet, his maul, just like stuck in the dirt right next to it, and he'd probably want like Thrain and Shush and whoever else could make it, but just like a few people, but just to be silent for a little bit and then walk away. And that would be it.
Cool. I like it. It's just a very small ceremony, a very small gathering.
Yeah. Just like a quick, like, all right, well, that happened.
Well, I guess for myself, I'm gonna echo the same idea that I really love stories, and I would love for people to tell stories. I actually really like the idea of, like kind of pushing everybody to tell a story a little bit. Like, I don't know if I want to use the word force, but sort of forcing everybody to come up and at least share some kind of short story. About me, I think that would be, or about how I impacted their lives. I think that would be really nice. The other thing that I've always really loved is in funerals having I like the idea of fire symbolizing sort of death and rebirth. So I like the concept of like having a fire or something that you give something to, and that, writing something about me on a piece of paper and giving it to the fire and letting the fire burn it up as a way of saying goodbye or saying moving on, or however you want to put that. But I like the presence of fire as a part of that process. I think it'd be really cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for
strong imagery with the fire. How big would be the flames?
Gigantic. No, actually, I was kind of picturing like a campfire almost. Not huge, small and personal. That's kind of how I picture it.
Shouldn't be scary to go up there and put your thing into it.
Yeah, right. It should be like an easy, maybe like a brazen.
Brazier.
Just don't say brazier.
Just not a brazier. A brazier of fire.
Yeah.
Two of them. Thank you so much. It's super interesting to think about that, and it has in no way a reflection on what's going to happen to your characters in this next session of D&D.
Hope it's a taco bar. Hope we're getting a taco bar out of this, Johns.
Of all the things, taco bar is what we're going to land on. No, the whole session is actually just going to be hanging out by rocks and not talking. So, Kirk, do you think you're ready to recap our game from last session?
Sure. So last session, we had just come out of the cave where Thrain, my character, met his god and got his holy hammer of Moradin, and which will smite the Grumpsh avatar and Lord Blancmere. And we escaped the bad monsters, and then we instantly got caught in an avalanche. And we almost died, but Grollo managed to get out of the snow and save us all, if I remember right, before we ended up waking up in a wild elf's cave. An elf, a hermit elf has a cave, and we were in there, and he kind of nursed us back to health. And then we needed to get back off the mountain, and we ended up riding these animals like that. We were water skiing down the mountain, and I think that's where we left off. Did I leave anything out?
At the very end of the last session, you met an NPC from your past, who you likely don't remember the name of as players, but your characters might remember.
Yeah, it was the town.
It was the sheriff or captain of the guard from the town of Torax. And he is apparently driving a wagon and has come across your sort of fire that you've set up to camp at the base of the mountain for the night. Actually, hoping to come across some horses or a cart or something to help you speedy your journey down to Pahiha. And so we pick up kind of right in that very moment where he has pulled up his cart right next to your campfire, and he's asked you whether or not he can share your fire for the night. And he's sort of turned to you, and he clearly does not recognize you, or at least not yet, for who you are. But it is dark, and you're sort of huddled over the fire right now. So he says, "Hello there. I hope I'm not interrupting, but I would love the opportunity to share your fire with you tonight, if you would be so kind."
Sure. Go ahead and join us.
Hey,
That's
you
a
sound
voice I
familiar.
recognize. You too. Would that be the... is that you, Thrain, and Grollo and Shush?
Why, it is. Have we met before, sir?
I'm not surprised you don't recognize me. I'm no longer wearing my signature uniform. And he kind of hops down from the top of the cart. He's kind of sitting at the very, very top, steering the cart from there. And he hops down and he you can tell definitely he's got the same broad mustache and the same sort of mussy hair that he had when you saw him before. But he's no longer wearing a guard's uniform, and is definitely Captain Mrist of the Torax City Guard, which is the only name you ever knew him by.
Anywhere.
What a coincidence!
You look like you have a low center of gravity.
Indeed I do. And he shows off by balancing on one foot. And he says, a swell observation on your part, for sure. What an odd coincidence to run into you in such a place as this, especially so far north. What brings your fellows to this area?
Well,
We are looking for a elf named Alice. Oh, wait. That's secondary, though. There's something... Oh, yeah. We're trying to fight
well,
these bad
I would
guys.
like to ask you that question before we talk about why we're here. Why are you here,
Oh,
Captain?
right. Yeah. We don't know why we're here.
Oh, well, it is a slightly sad story. You see, after you left the town of Torax, I was fired. The people kind of voted in that they did not appreciate the way that I'd handled what was the word that they used? Brigands who had burned down most of their houses and cost them quite a bit of money and let them go off on their ship alone. And so they called for my resignation, to which the mayor was happy to oblige. But don't worry, don't pity me. I have taken it upon myself to fall into practice to a skill that I am enjoying quite a bit more than being captain of the guard. I am, in fact, a tailor.
And why are you here?
Oh, well, as a tailor, my services were not particularly well appreciated in the town of Torax. I thought I would take my services on the road, so I took my savings and I bought myself a cart. And he reaches over to the edge of the cart and he pulls down a little flap, and it says Edward Mrist, tailor extraordinaire, which he clearly had embroidered onto the side of the cart cloth. That he has there. And he says, have you need of any services? For fine gents like you, I think I would be willing to offer those services for free or a discount.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah. I want new clothes for sure.
I want to hand him my torn up tablecloth outfit from our rock and roll days and see if he can put it together. Still look a little distressed, rock and roll style, but maybe improve the longevity of that document. Or that piece of fabric.
He says, an interesting choice of clothing there. I think I can do something with this. Maybe pretty it up a little bit for you. Perhaps, what do you use this for?
Rock and roll, mostly.
Oh,
We're
a
in a
band.
band.
Wonderful. Just seems as if your journey has taken you in a strange direction as well.
I suppose.
So
where we've always been trying to go, really. Mostly towards rock and a little bit towards roll.
And he actually pulls out. He has like a little cart that comes out from the side of his cart. I guess it's a little hand cart that comes out from the side of his cart, and it has like a little pedal. It has a little pedal sewing machine, and he pulls it out and he starts sort of pulling out some fabric and things like that, and starting to make repairs. And he's happy to sort of chit chat as he's doing so. And he says, "And how about for yourselves? What has brought you so far north?"
Well, we were out here because we went to Pihiha, and there seems to be some trouble there. And so we've been trying to clear up that trouble, honestly.
I start pulling my ear.
Trouble. I hope it's not something that's going to interrupt the Orc Redemption Day that they had planned down there.
What's that? I don't know about that. Tell us.
Oh, well, it's an event that I guess got announced just a few weeks ago. Going about and trying to make peace with some of the orc tribes in the area, giving them, I guess the idea was some sort of passport or a welcoming opportunity to come into the city of Bahiha. Sounds like quite an interesting opportunity, though many people are not so trustworthy, but just trusting of those orc fellows. No offense to you, Grollo. You've clearly demonstrated yourself to be a fine, upstanding gentleman.
Maybe they're changing their plans then. Maybe they're changing their mind.
It is in just a couple of days. If you hurry, you maybe even be able to capture the tail end of it.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe,
whatever trouble is going on, I hope it does not interrupt the ceremony. It would be quite an unfortunate thing if the peace between the orcs got interrupted by some other bother or something.
Maybe they've realized the error of their ways.
So, Captain, we are traveling back to Pihiha. Is there any way you could help us with getting back there?
Oh, I wasn't planning on heading back in that direction. I'm actually headed off to the east. But I suppose for friends of yourselves, I might call you friends.
Yeah.
I suppose I can head down in that direction. I'm sure there's plenty of business during the ceremony to be had down there. Well, probably couldn't hurt to earn a few extra coins before I make my way east.
Well, if we travel together, at some point we might come to an agreement that it might not be the best idea to go to Pihiha. We'll have to see how that goes, though.
Ooh, how bad is this trouble that you're referring to?
Well, there could be some violence at some point that breaks out, particularly around us, and so it might not be a good idea to stick around.
But Drain, it sounds like they're inviting orcs now. Maybe they're trying to make peace.
Could be. We'll have to find out for ourselves.
Certainly my understanding of the ceremony is that they're going to invite all the orcs in. They need not pass through security or customs or anything along those lines. Have a large ceremony all together. Something about celebration with Grumpsh, the new churches that have cropped up down there in the last 10 years. And have a wonderful time all together. Ceremony, dancing, all that kind of thing. There was a flyer.
Ceremonies don't go well, from our experience.
So, Captain, you were planning on just passing through, and we just ran into you. And if you wanted to go east, is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, yes. Well, that kind of party is not normally my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm feeling a bit that it's time to get out of the area of Torax and perhaps this kingdom in general. The king is served just fine, but I've spent my life here, and it might be nice to see some other lands.
Yeah, maybe you should do that. Hey, Shush, but as we go into town, as our, maybe the more able to trick people among us, might the captain be able to help us along our journey?
I suppose he could. Can I make an insight check with the captain and see if he seems like he's hiding anything?
Sure. Yeah. Give me an insight roll.
That is a 15.
Awesome. You do not think that he is hiding anything. Actually, if anything, you think he seems happier than he did before. Being a tailor is a easier calling. And in the time that he's been talking with you, he has stitched up your outfit, your Moradin cloak, and it looks actually nicer than it did originally. He even added some embroidery to the edges. It kind of looks like the I guess rock version of the cloak that it already was.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about
it's clear
tassels.
that he's skilled at it.
We have tassels on there.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh, a brilliant idea. Yes, I
Little
believe I've
flare
got
on
some
the-
tassels in here somewhere. And he starts rummaging through his cart to pull some out to attach on. Do you want all of yours to look the same?
Yes, please.
I want to
I'm the
make sure I
lead
have enough
singer.
tassels
Can
for
you
all
make
of them.
a lead singer version?
Oh, yes, of course. Little known fact, but I actually did the uniforms for a few other bands from out of Torax. A small favor for a friend, but they seem to appreciate the outfits that they had wound up with. Happy to do the same.
Which
for you.
Which bands was that?
A couple of friends that went off and joined the Generals, but at the time they were known
The
as.
Generals. I love the Generals.
Oh yes.
Have you heard of the Screaming Weasels?
No, I don't believe I know the Screaming Weasels.
Well, the lead singer of the Generals had a side project called Screaming Weasels.
Oh, I did not know that. Was that
Yes.
from his early days?
Well, you kind of had to know. You kind of had to know about it.
Well, the folks that I fixed up with their uniform, I believe they were called the Pink Fluffles at the time.
Oh, Pink Fluffles. Of course I know them.
Oh yes,
Everyone who's really
popular
knows
in the
about
area.
good music. Yes, you kind of be local, but yes.
They had that hit, and it went up the charts pretty well.
Oh yeah, Grollo, do you know that song?
Why do the stars come so out at night?
Yes, exactly.
Something flight. Yeah, that thing. It was catchy tune.
Yes.
It was very catchy. It was indeed about stars and fighting.
Poetry. It's real
Now,
poetry.
I have a question.
Metaphorical.
Can you make my new outfit make my voice louder?
No. But I can make you look louder in the metaphorical sense, of course.
Oh, I really enjoy metaphorical senses, so that's
Oh,
great.
wonderful. I'll make it a bit more colorful for you so you stand out just a bit more.
And make sure I keep a low center of gravity.
Shishi, you definitely are getting the idea, like, he's really just, like, he got fired and he's off kind of traveling on his own.
Pursuing
Although this
his
does...
passions.
Right. Whether or not you want to trust him, this does present you with an opportunity. You guys have an idea for how long it's going to take you to get back down to Pakiha. And the day that you are certain that Blancmere has sort of set up this invasion is exactly the same day as this Orc Redemption Day that you're hearing about. As far as your calendars are concerned, this must be part of the invasion. This must be part of the plans that Blancmere has set up. And right now you are about like 2 days away at a hard ride. That's like riding during the day and at least one of the nights and making your way down there would be how long it's going to take you to get there. It's going to be really, really tough to make it down there in time if you don't have horses or a cart or some other way to speed up your travels.
But he has a cart.
He does. So he presents sort of an opportunity for you, but the opportunity may come at the cost of if you want to steal it from him, you're stealing from this guy who clearly is like happy with his new life and spent his life savings on the cart that he's using to traverse the land or whatever method you want to use here. Maybe a choice your characters have to.
And he wanted to go in a different direction.
Yes, he says he's headed east, which will take him. The road east at this point would take you out of the kingdom as a whole.
Gotcha.
There are other kingdoms, there are
see.
other places to visit, but you're basically like mostly north and just a little bit east of Pakiha right now. And traveling further east will eventually take you out of the kingdom.
So does it seem like he doesn't want to go down south, and we might want to convince him to come south with us so that we can use his wagon. But it sounds like Thrain also thinks that we should maybe bring him along because having a former member of the guard might be a useful asset in our sort of social tactics. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know about the Thrain part. That's up to Kirk, but the rest of it certainly is the case. There's a usefulness to having the wagon and the horses to take you down south that will certainly speed up. Really, in reality, it is unlikely you will make it down there in time if you do not.
Okay. So wagon and horses are necessary.
Yeah.
This guy, it sounds like Thrain. Kirk, you were saying that Thrain was suggesting that we bring him along for social reasons as well.
Well, this is behind, this is in my character's head that your character wouldn't know, but I actually thought he was Blancmere in disguise because I was like, what the hell is this guy doing out of nowhere? You know what I mean? And so
that's why I was doing the inside check because I wanted to see if he was like, secretly an avatar of an evil god or something.
Yeah. But then
seems like he's just a tailor.
But then the role playing convinced me, it was just random circumstance and so
he knew all the bands. He like legit knew the bands with the singers.
Yeah,
like he's in it. He knows.
Yeah. If this is an act, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume, Shush, that you have sort of pieced all these things together, and me and Grollo have yet to sort of piece this solution to a problem together.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of good business down in Pihiha. I mean, look at that handiwork on my cloak. Grollo, you look like you are metaphorically as loud as you could possibly be. That is amazing.
So it did work. Let me try it.
Hold on. I've got to cover my ears. You're so loud. Wow, that's amazing. Listen, if you're looking for good work, I'm sure there's lots of people down in Pihiha, especially right before a big ceremony, that might really benefit from this kind of handiwork. I bet they'd pay a pretty penny for it, too.
Well, I suppose that would be true during the ceremony and whatnot. Although I worry about whatever it is that's got you rushing down there so quick. Hope nothing dangerous, I hope. Well, most of my days of fighting crime are behind me these days.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you, Captain, because I can't. And there might be some danger. But I'm here to tell you that all of our lives and the lives of everyone you care about depends on the three of us getting to Pihiha as fast as possible, and it seems that Moradin has sent you potentially to send us, to help us get there. And if you can help us get there, and then I would actually insist that you turn around and get as far away from Pihiha after you drop us off.
It's
funny that you say that.
Oh gosh. Is this going to work? That was very direct. I don't think Shush would have done that as directly as I was thinking about jumping in and like putting my hand over your mouth and being like, "Hold on, think about it's dangerous to be surrounded by so many people who want your amazing services." But
which I was pulling both my ears the whole time.
But I'll let you go with it.
He's Thrain can't lie, so at this point he's just like, he saw where you were going with it, and he's just like, well, he asked me, so I have to say the truth.
Yeah, Shush is feeling uncomfortable with this, but he let it go. He trusts you, Thrain.
He says, it's funny that you mentioned Moradin in such a way. I had a dream last night, and in the dream I was hanging out in a bar called The Forge. I've never been in a bar called The Forge before, but it was an interesting place, and I was hanging out, and there were all these other dwarves that were down there and seemed to be having a good time in the bar. It was one of the things that made me feel like adventure was the next choice for me. So that's, in fact, the reason I've started headed east. I've never found a bar called The Forge over here. I figured I'd head east and see if there was anything off in that direction.
I hold up my holy hammer and say, do you see the anvil and hammer on this glorious hammer that I had acquired recently from the hands and forge of Moradin himself? He definitely sent you here to help us along our journey to rid this world of Groomsh and all that is evil. Do you understand the blessing that my God has bestowed upon you, man?
No, not quite. But I appreciate the hammer and the anvil and all the imagery there. Why not? For upstanding folks such as yourselves, I know what good you did in Torex. I'd be willing to take you down to Pahiha, if you share with me the story, of course. I want to know what kind of danger I'm walking into if I'm going to be headed off in that direction.
Absolutely. We'll tell you all sorts of stories. In fact, Shoes, aren't you working on a story in song about our journeys?
Of course I am. I think it would be best if our lead singer sings it for us, as I'll play the bagpipes.
We started in the town with the fires on our heads. And then we went to an island and we almost got dead. But then we found a town with some crazy peoples and some bands that played, but not as good as us, 'cause we rock. We are Grunch. Oh, wait, no, that's not our name. I forgot that part.
It's Moradin.
We are Moradin.
The parts mixed up. Thank you.
We're still working on it.
I'm not. It's really. I've already written all the lyrics. It's just Grolo takes a little while to memorize them. He can't read, so it's repetition back and forth. I have to sing them to him, and then he memorizes them. It takes a while.
Can I just say, as the game master, the dynamic of make Umberto have to make up a song is one of my favorite dynamics.
D&D is really good at making these sort of inside joke reference things, where now we have a new cultural phenomenon in our cultural conserve, which is Umberto makes up songs when we ask him to.
Right. Captain, did you know that actually from before we even met Shush, he actually wrote a song about wagons, coincidentally, that is pretty similar to our situation right now. Shush, would you like to play that song about wagons?
I like to repeat a lot of the same sort of cadences in my songs as I work on them. So this is one about wagons. So you want yourself a wagon, 'cause you find yourself a dragon, and then you go a-carrying your weight. And when you go a dragon all your stuff in your wagon, you find yourself things are going great.
Woo! That was great. That was really good.
Oh, thank you.
What a wonderful tune.
I've been working on that song for a long time.
It's indeed.
Dragon's actually a homophone for two words.
Oh, one of them a big lizard.
Yeah.
Oh, really wonderful. If you turn into a dragon, then you need to have a wagon. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, it seems that we've at least a deal. I'll take you down south, and that sounds like a good opportunity to maybe fix up the rest of your clothes as well.
Oh, that would be a dream.
Moradin thanks you.
I think, given that you guys are feeling a bit of a pressure on time, I'm imagining you want to get started right away. And you, rather than spending the night here at the base of the mountain, you sort of pack things up and then start heading back down south to make sure you can get there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
With that, all of you have sort of a chance to relax a bit. Honestly, it is a hard cart ride. You're riding at night, and you're basically taking shifts, leading things along. You know the horses are going to have to rest at least once down the journey down there, but otherwise you can mostly ride like day and night, trying to make your way down to the city of Pahiha. Do you share what is going on with the former Captain Mrist?
I mean, unless someone stops me, I do.
He actually seems to be a pretty valuable resource around the whole thing. He's pretty blown away by the story about Blancmere and everything that's going on with the orcs. But he also used to be a captain of the guard, and he ends up kind of coming back at you with several pretty important questions that make you really consider what exactly is your plan of attack here. One of the questions that he asks you is, you're coming in to basically stop an army of orcs with just the three of you? Do you have any backup or a similar army or anything like that?
Moradin has entrusted me with this hammer, so I believe that this is all that we need, the three of us and this hammer.
I have
I'm
a
personally
violin and a flute.
Those as well.
Yeah. I'm missing a weapon actually, but I've got a new feeling inside of me that's pretty great.
The second question that he asks you is, actually, doesn't one of you have a letter from Zabira? For the Grimhammer tribe. I'm gonna go back through my notes.
Oh,
Zabira.
something that was like a pass through this land of the good orcs.
And you can call on them, or let them know what's going on. So just so you know, that's a resource that's at your disposal.
Oh, right. So we have a letter we can send a message to them remotely. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it's basically like a red letter instead of like normal colored parchment. It's red parchment, and you can leave it on the edge of their lands and get a message to them. If you want to ask them for help, or if you want to let them know what's going on, or any of that
absolutely. I write in Orcish that the date of the invasion is X date, and if you can help in any way possible, because the three of us are heading into the belly of the beast, we're heading right into Pahiha. Obviously it would be more concise than this. I'm sort of working it out. Okay, let me think. I mean, if anyone else has a better idea, I'm going to write that they provide a distraction so that we can get inside in the chaos and get to Lord Blancmere. Does anyone have a better idea?
Well, I mean, are you telling us this? Are you?
No, I'm just...
okay. Because I think...
Yeah, I guess in character I would be.
Out of character.
No, in character I say this. So unless anyone has a better idea, Shush and Grollo and Captain, I'm going to ask the orcs that we befriended to create a chaos and distraction so we can get in to Lord Blancmere and take care of him.
Well, but aren't they inviting all the orcs to come and have a celebration?
But the orcs we befriended are known enemies of the orcs that are coming, and they're not going to let them in. One, or at least two, the orcs we befriended once in can, at the, sounding call, will be able to create chaos that either way. So they can either create chaos from within, or they can create chaos by coming at the walls or something.
So it's like a homophone. Okay, I think that's a good idea.
Do you think that if we can go in and take out Blancmere, that we will solve the problem?
I hope
Which is actually
so.
one of the captain's other questions, which is like, will that work if you just sort of kill Blancmere? Is that gonna suddenly solve all the problems? You got an entire army of orcs to deal with.
It's either that and or ending the ceremony, which I'm guessing we're going to fall upon in some way. I have a guess that at least one of the temples that they converted to Grumsh will be the epicenter of some ceremony of some kind, because Grumsh is trying to come back, and he needs there to be a dark ceremony in order for that to happen. And so we'll either interrupt that and or kill Blancmere. And Blancmere is Grumsh at this point. He is... Do we know that, DM?
Yeah, because he sort of showed off a little bit of his power when you were captured in his camp.
Right. And so if Blancmere dies, then Grumsh's connection to this world ends. At this point, Thrain is just making stuff up based on what he believes to be true.
You did have like a personal chat with your god, so I feel like everybody's going to believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who told you that? Oh, Moradin. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's saying things that he believes to be true. He doesn't necessarily, as a character, I don't know if
You don't
Thrain,
actually know that.
I don't know if Thrain is right.
Yeah.
Is he trying to like save face with us? Is he trying? Because he is definitely like the leader of this group.
He believes it
100%. Okay.
Lord Blancmere is Grumsh. This hammer will kill him. Why would Moradin give me a hammer if not to smash it on Blancmere's head?
Sort of a cause and effect thing. That makes sense. then Shush totally thinks that's the best idea. If we need to go in there, this is an assassination, basically. And if we're saving the entire world, then wouldn't it be rock and roll to go out in that moment?
Yeah.
The next question that Mrist asks you is how you plan to get in. If it's the city of Prehiha is literally it's a fortress. And so if it really is like an attack like you're talking about, aren't they going to close the doors and like stop people from coming into the city or maybe from getting out?
Well, and maybe we're part of the entertainment. I mean, we're well known as an entertainment act, and maybe we could say that we're there to entertain. I don't know. I can't imagine sneaking in. But maybe that, I don't know. What do you think, Shush? Could we sneak in?
I think
you saw the walls.
The people will like us if we play for them. So it's really useful to be entertaining. And now we have this wonderful new outfit. Thank you, Brist. So I think we can make it if we show up celebrating the occasion. I think it might be the right choice.
Well, hold on. What if we go to the town and we take out the bad dude? Like, let's just go do that.
That's genius, Scrollo.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't think of that. What other wisdom do you have?
I'm just saying, because that's the important thing. We gotta get rid of that guy. So I think we just go in and we just go do that. And, like, that's the plan.
Do you think we should go in pretending to be rock stars, or should we go in pretending to be worshippers of Groom? Or should we go in sneakily, ducking around corners?
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan, all of those. And, we just need to maintain our costumes and our mission to go and take out the bad guy. That's our plan.
Asterix, I just want to point out for people listening that this is a great device that Johns is introducing that I'm guessing he's introduced before, which is an NPC who says, "So what's your plan?" and provides the DM voice of reason. Might be like, "Oh, maybe you should think that one out a little bit," rather than...
That seems like maybe that'll work.
Yeah,
or
rather than the DM, because a common concern for a DM is like, are they just sort of randomly waltzing into the situation, or do they have a plan? It would be so much a better story if they have sort of a logical plan to this. But because players forget to do that sometimes, and plus players sometimes forget the landscape a little bit, it's hard for them to sometimes even make a plan because they don't have all the world in their head the way the DM does. And so this is a wonderful device that I've never used as a DM before. If you're trying to help your players plan before they move forward, it's also a team building exercise. You have this person who introduces this question. What are you going to do? Yeah, it's a good device. Anyway.
I sometimes use the same device but I have an NPC who's like gets the group in trouble and they have to hold him back. So I'll have, instead of the wise person NPC like this one is, I literally have a character named Corey the Exploder in one of my games. And he likes to blow things up. And so in this circumstance, he'd be like, all right, well, let's just run over there and blow up the whole city. All right, I'm going to go in. You guys follow me. And they're like, whoa, let's plan first. And so, oh, you guys want to plan? Okay, fine. What do you want to do?
It's kind of the Grollo approach.
Yeah, we already have a Grollo in our group, which is why Johns can't do that approach.
The Exploder because that character already exists. Yeah. I'll also say, to some extent, as the game master, the opportunity really was there to steal his cart and leave. Or to convince him to bring you further down. And so to some extent, this is also a reward for the friendly path, is that you get to have him and whatever expertise he gets to bring in, which is actually going to sort of come up and play out right here. But it's the perfect moment to sort of highlight that, Kirk. Edward Mrist listens to all the plan. He listens to he asks you all these questions, and then eventually, as you're making your way further south, he says, I think that I will not be able to join you all the way down to Pahiha. Unfortunately, it sounds like whatever is going on is going to be a greater deal than I can ignore, even though I'm no longer the captain of the guard in Torex. I think you should drop me nearby Torex, and I will go in and gather all the guard that still may be loyal to me and try to act as backup for you in this plan, in this mission that you have. We may be a bit behind you, but I'll try and get everybody down there as quick as possible to help you out. And of course, and he looks sort of longingly over the cart that he clearly has spent his life savings and his effort putting together, and he goes, I'll give you my cart as well to help you get down there on time.
I put my hand on his shoulder. You're a good man, Captain.
He says, it's not Captain anymore. Just call me Edward.
Well, you're always Captain to me, Captain.
We'll take care of her.
Yeah.
And he does do exactly that. As you come up close, he actually... it would take you too far out of the way to go all the way over to the town of Torax, but basically once you're far south enough to be parallel to Torax, he says goodbye to all of you, and he lets you know if you just follow the road further down, you'll eventually make your way to Pahiha, and then he takes off and starts walking his way the distance to Torax to try to hopefully help bring you further back up with some of the guard there that they can spare.
So I write the note on the red paper that says to what's the woman's name again?
Zabir.
Zabir is an Orcish. Is it like tomorrow, or is it in 2 days, or?
It's basically tomorrow at this point.
Okay. So I guess I'd have to write the date on there, right? I don't know.
Yeah. And I've never bothered really describing in our world like the months or days or things like that. I sort of imagine them to be fantasy months and fantasy days rather than the ones that we have, but I also don't want to go through all the effort to make up 12 or 13 months and, right. and days of the week and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the month of Torm, the 15th day of Torm or something.
Perfect.
And I say that Groomsh is going to try to come into our world through a ceremony in Pahiha, and I need you and your people to create a distraction to draw away the armies so that we might sneak in and get access to Groomsh and Lord Blancbeer.
And actually, Edward Mrist takes the letter, and he says he'll drop it up, make sure that it gets dropped off in their lands and picked up by them, so that he can make sure that it actually gets delivered.
Okay.
And with that, it's just the three of you once again, in a tailor's cart headed down towards Pahiha. A couple of things, kind of minor things happen. The horses that you have for this cart are not the most well-bred, seasoned horses, and by this point in time, they are just exhausted. You're basically riding them hard for a long time, and they're making their way down, but they have definitely slowed their pace by quite a bit, and there's not a whole lot you can do to push them much further than that. As a result, you do make it down there for the day of the ceremony, but it's much closer towards the evening of the ceremony than it is the morning. On the horizon, you can see pillars of smoke billowing from from over the walls of the city of Pahiha. And as you arrive closer to the city, you can tell that the doors to the city are closed, which is not a sight you have ever seen in the city of Pahiha. Usually the doors, the giant doors that keep the city safe in the event of an attack have stayed open. In fact, they have stayed open for several hundred years. And it's been a long time since the doors to the city of Pahiha have been closed. You are not necessarily too late, but it is definitely when you are arriving at the city, whatever is happening now. But you arrive, and there is no one on the outside. And you can hear clanging and shouting coming from inside the city walls. But the city is designed to be defended against. And now you are stuck outside of the city with no real route for how to get in.
When you say clanging, does that sound like battle or does that sound like glasses touching and celebration?
It sounds like battle. And the smoke billowing from the top of the walls definitely looks like the kind of smoke that is a result of buildings on fire, not like a
Party
big celebration bonfire. Yeah, it's like many pillars of smoke happening in.
Gotcha. Smoke and clanging sometimes is a party and sometimes it's
And
bad.
sometimes it's a party in this case. It definitely sounds like you
Real
hear
rock and roll
screams and
party.
stuff. You hear screams, both like screams of battle, like orcish yells of battle, but also the screams of people clearly being attacked.
So in my
sounds
old
like,
backpack, I had a grappling hook and rope. Do I still have that?
Yeah, I think you do.
Is it how tall is this wall?
So the walls are, I think they're about 50 feet high.
Okay, so I have a rope.
So you might be able to do it with your rope.
Yeah.
Normally during like an actual siege on the city, there's like spots around the top walls where people can like go up there and they can like pour oil and stuff, and they have like arrow nooks and all that stuff. But you don't see anybody up there like spotting you from down below. There's nothing like that. And so you're able to like see, wave a little bit and see if anybody like shoots arrows at you. But you're able to basically notice nobody's paying attention to what's going on outside the city at this moment.
That's what I figured. So Grollo, throw this grapple hook over the top and hook it on. We got to get up there fast.
What for? It sounds like the party started. Can't we just knock on the door?
It's battle, Grollo, my friend.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I grab the rope and I try to throw it up to it's got like a hook, right? It's like a hook on the end.
Yeah, like
Okay,
a
so
three-pronged hook that
Do I have to roll something?
Yeah, give me a strength saving throw.
All right. Here we go. Oh no.
plus 5. Plus
7.
5. Oh god.
7. Grollo, you're like taking the grappling hook and you're hooking it up, and it's I'll let you decide whether or not
Okay.
it's not going high enough or you're like misrepresenting the angle.
Here's
and, like,
what
clanging
happened.
into
I
the
was
side
so
of the
happy
wall.
because I thought that, like, I still had it in my head, like they're inviting all the orcs. I think they've changed their mind, so I'm like, oh, the party's going on. And I got so flustered when Thrain's like, Grollo, it's a battle, blah, 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 so I'm like, oh. So I just grabbed the thing and chucked it. But unfortunately, like in my despair, it's just like my hand got in the way of the, so like it only went halfway and then it like landed kind of on my head.
So you got so excited you had premature grappling hook?
Premature grapulation.
While this is going on, Thrain and Shush, why don't you roll me perception checks?
Perception check of 16.
I got a 3.
Shush, you're just paying close attention to Grollo, maybe trying to trying to direct him for how to like better throw grappling
I'm actually
hooks.
looking through my bag to get out my flute to give him some bardic inspiration so we can get that hook up.
While that's going on, Thrain, you hear a strange noise coming from behind you. So the outer walls of Pahiha are mostly like back up right next to forest, and so there's sort of a little bit of a gap there, but there's forest that's really not very far away at all. And coming from the forest, you hear a strange sound. It sounds like somebody going like.
I turn around and I say, by Moradin's anvil, who is that?
And you can see there is what looks to be a sort of very slight half-elven man that is, or full elven man that is standing around that's sort of leaning over the bushes. And he seems to be looking something and making that noise. And he looks terrified. He jumps backwards as you say that to him. And he turns to you and he says, Oh my gosh. You scared me. Oh, you're that fellow that I met before. Train.
Thrain.
Thrain, yes. It is Pentel, the elf that you stayed the night in his house. The guy who was obsessed with his cats. And he is apparently looking around in the woods right now, right outside of the city, while the city is literally burning.
Pentel, are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Whoa, but Whiskers is missing.
Oh, that's
So glad that you're here.
What's going
I
on
let
inside
him
the city?
out,
The city is burning. What is going on in there?
Oh, I wouldn't say burning. It's a celebration. They had. I didn't want to do the celebration. I wrote to the city council, and they said, no, there's nothing they can do. There was a celebration, and they also told me to stop writing letters to them. But no, I've been out here for, I would say the better part of an hour and a half, trying to find Whiskers. He has disappeared. I'm so glad that you're here. You can help me find him. And they're having some ceremony. There's many orcs or something along those lines going on inside. They were chanting or something along those lines when I came out. Whiskers should be just up this tree over here. If you make this noise with me, and pss, 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 he seems to respond well to that.
Grappling hook.
Can I try again?
I give him
go ahead and give me a strength
inspiration
saving
for this?
throw. Yeah, you can give him bardic inspiration.
So that means 2 rolls?
It means that you get to add I think it's a
D6.
D6, right, Adam?
I believe it. Yes, it's a 1d6 to add to your roll.
To my
So
roll.
roll a
here goes
D20
my
and
roll.
then add an extra run D6.
Like, yes, Strain, yes, I'll get it right. Okay. What? Another 4? Okay, 4 plus 3 plus a D6.
No, plus 5. You're plus 5. Your save is plus 5. Your
thought it was
strength save is
strength.
Yeah,
plus
you
5.
get to use your saving throw for this.
Oh, it was plus 5. Okay, so it was 9. It was 9 before. It's 9 again, but now I need to get plus 6 in here, or D6.
Plus a d6 from the power of
What is
mind.
happening? Okay, 10.
You need new dice is what you need.
10.
You
10.
need your metal dice.
Yeah. You are still hucking this grappling hook against the side of the wall.
Listen,
It sounds
Rollo,
bad.
I appreciate you're the strong one, but can I please just give it a try? Listen, no hard feelings. It shouldn't be embarrassing.
This is so
Everyone has
embarrassing.
Nope. Can I give it a shot? Can I use dexterity instead of
Yes.
instead of
Pentel
strength?
is still talking to you, Thrain, while this is all going on, and he's like, do you want to take the path? You could go to the left, and I'll go to the right, and we'll look for Whiskers that way.
I pick up a rock and I cast light on it and I give it to him and I say, this could help you.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, it has gotten quite dark since the sun went down. Wonderful. Oh, there he is! Whiskers! Oh, beautiful. He was just right there in the bush in front of me. And he sort of drops the rock on the ground and then leans down and he picks up Whiskers and he goes, I like to let Whiskers out every once in a while.
Shoosh! Grappling hook.
I got a 15 on my roll.
Awesome. Shush, you are able to huck
So
the grappling hook
embarrassing.
up.
I just
and
want
it
to
hooks onto the side of
Grollo
the...
on the shoulder and say, happens to everyone.
Oh, that's just because I have a low center of gravity.
It's too low. That must
Perfect.
be it.
You, with the grappling hook attached to the top, you have no trouble. Well, it takes you some time maybe to climb up the side of a 50-foot wall, but you're able to do so, and the grappling hook is so solidly attached to the side of the wall for you to be able to do so. As the three of you, Pentel sort of waves, and he says, "Oh, well, have a good time at the party, I suppose."
Stay out of the city for a couple days, Pentel.
He says, "Oh, I was just going to go. All right, a couple of days. That's a long time in the woods." He sort of continues to mutter to himself as you climb up the side of the wall. You see a sight that Thrain, for you especially, but maybe for all three of you, almost stops your heart. The city is really under siege. From the high vantage point that you can see, you can tell that there are many houses that are on fire, and you can see bands of orcs that are traveling through the streets, and you can see splatters of blood and even some bodies that litter the streets as the orcs are running through. Some of the orcs are actually riding atop wargs, large battle dogs, and carry with them spears and weapons. And they're sort of doing patrols of 5 and 6 orcs at a time that seem to be running through all the different streets. And you can see people have sort of shut themselves into their houses, and the orcs are bashing up against doors and breaking into people's homes, and then dragging them out into the streets and killing them.
I mutter to myself, this is what happens to you when you turn away from Moradin.
What you can also see is you recognize the telltale signs of ritual. From the vantage point that you have, you can see into one of the orc churches, one of the churches for Grumsh, and you can see that they are performing rituals right there in the churches, and sacrificing people. You think that you have at least not yet, that you haven't yet missed the opportunity to interrupt whatever ritual Blancmere may be planning.
I scan the horizon for any small army of orcs coming.
You guys are up on sort of this tall wall that sits above many of the buildings and houses that are in the area. But there's like a stairway that leads that basically you can use to get down from the tall wall, and you can do so, and you can see that there is a band of 5 or 6 orcs that are sort of headed in your direction. They don't see you because they're not really looking up in that direction. They're not expecting people to be up there, but they are definitely headed down a street that is kind of pointed in your direction.
I cast thaumaturgy, and I can make like a little some flames, and I make it. Or wait, I can cause flames to flicker. Let's see. I can make a sound that originates from your point. Okay, so I can create an instantaneous sound that originates from a point of my choice within range of 30 feet. So I make it, in their direction, maybe on the, in between us, and I say the name of their god, Lorleth. Lorleth.
Grumsh.
No. Oh no, I'm trying to look into the woods for orcs coming to the wall.
Oh, gotcha. At the moment, you don't see any orcs coming to the.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Right now, all you can see are the orcs on the inside. Whoever's coming for backup. It's only been, a couple of minutes since you arrived at the city. So whoever's coming for backup, hopefully will be here soon. But they have not beaten you here.
Okay, then I cast light. These are all cantrips, right? So, and I cast it on a little point on the rope on the other side of the wall that the orcs on the inside can't see it, just in case the Lorleth orcs come. They might see the rope already there and see a way in. I don't know. Who knows? Okay. So how far away is the ceremony?
So Blancmere's house, which you guys learned sort of its location when you were here in the city before, is close to the center of the city. So it's quite a distance to travel when you're having to either fight or hide your way through many of the orcs that are sort of roaming the cities. And it's nearby where the king's castle is, near the center of the city.
Any ideas? Blancmere's at his house. He's probably in the church doing the rituals.
He might be in one of the churches. There are many churches that are sort of around in the city. There is one that is right nearby his house, so that might be the best. But
you said we can see a ceremony at a temple where they're literally sacrificing people right here. And yes. How far is it to that? Is that at the center of the city?
That's pretty close. No, that's a church that's right near where you are. So it's actually on the edge of the city.
Do we see any obviously bad orcs nearby, on the way to that?
On the way to that temple,
like close to us within a quick running distance.
Oh, that Grollo could run at and immediately attack?
For example.
We could definitely ask somebody a question.
There are orcs that have that seem to be coming down a street towards you that would be on the way to the
So
tunnel.
I think
There's
what
three
I
of
say is like, why don't we demand some answers from those orcs over there?
That's one idea.
Is there any way we could peel one off from the group? Is there like a straggler or something we could, like grab with some?
I'm
headlock
running
and-
towards them as we speak because Thrain said it was one idea.
I'm turning and talking to Thrain and not noticing the Grollo is running away.
I'm
I thought
I'm-
we were really tactical and slow about this. We might be able to. Oh, Grollo. Oh, okay.
I run after Grollo.
It's go time.
Awesome. Everybody roll me initiative. You guys are going to get a surprise round because they're definitely not expecting you.
7
Please, please, please. Yes.
or 8.
What do I add to my?
Initiative, you're +2.
Oh, right there. 16.
I have a 10.
Finally.
Grollo, it definitely puts you first. There are 3 of them. These ones are not on wargs, so you can. You're definitely like catching them off guard. You're literally like running out of smoke and mist.
How many
directly
are they?
towards them? 3.
3. Okay, so the problem is I have no maul.
Correct.
I have my sling. Is there such a thing as me being able to punch?
You can punch. The damage for punch is just it's basically 1 plus your strength.
You could use your surprise round to take their weapon.
You could also try to disarm one of them.
Oh, okay. So I probably want to do that because I'm very aware that I'm
They
not
have their
carrying
weapons
my-
out because they're basically just ready to attack anybody they see.
What kind of weapons are we talking about?
And no one has a maul. One of them has a great axe that you might be able to steal if you wanted to go with the 2-handed weapons. The other 2 have like one-handed weapons. Like one of them has a longsword and the other one has a spear.
Yeah, I probably just go for the axe. So I see the axe. So yes, so I'm gonna try to like basically like come at the one dude with the axe from the side and like grab his axe as I'm slamming into him.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll me a strength. So what this is going to be like a strength check. You're going to do a strength contest against him.
Okay, so is that the saving throw, the +5?
Yes. Yeah, you can do the same.
Okay. Here it goes. No, come on. Oh, it's 8.
Are you using your heroic, not rage, but your
Heroic might.
Heroic might.
I hadn't yet. No.
Okay. You come running forward, Grollo, and you grab at his axe, and he's definitely surprised and caught off guard, but you're unable to sort of pull the axe out of his hand. So now you're in a grapple. You still have hold of his axe, but he hasn't let go of it either. So now the 2 of you are sort of wrestling over the axe. itself.
Wrestling.
You're wrestling. Shush, that's going to make it your turn.
I wish that I had some more like rock and roll type spells to do here because I'm like, I have Zone of Truth and I have Charm Person. None of those are useful right now. So I'm going to run over there, and I'm also trying not to make too much attention out of this, right? Like, I don't want to attract any more orcs, so I can't do Thunder Wave or anything like that. So I am going to, with my rapier in one hand and my small flute in the other hand, I'm going to play a little bardic inspiration for Grollo. And then, have you gotten the axe yet? Sorry, I was looking up a rule. Did you get
He
that?
did
No,
not. They're
I
still
rolled-
wrestling over it.
Yeah, I'm wrestling.
Cool. I'm gonna stab that guy in like the shoulder to try to get him to release his axe from his hand.
Oh, okay, cool. I like that idea. Go ahead and give me an attack roll.
So I will definitely.
We'll give him
hopefully-
disadvantage on his roll.
Hopefully, I will get that. That's a 16.
Okay.
Nice.
That does hit.
Nice.
Give me damage because you are stabbing him,
Yes, I am.
and I'll give him disadvantage on his next check to try to wrestle the axe now out of Grollo's hands.
That is an 8.
All right. You stab him solidly in the shoulder, and he grunts as you do so. He's still trying to wrestle against Grollo. And he says in Orcish, I guess, "Get off of me, half breed."
Ooh.
And Threem, that's gonna make it your turn.
I just try to take that guy out.
The great axe guy.
Yeah.
Cool. What are you doing to?
I'm using my holy hammer of Moradin,
Nice.
and I got a 21,
That'll definitely hit.
and I hit for 6 damage, which is pretty
And
low.
then, did you add your?
I did.
Okay.
Radiant, yeah.
It's not going to take him out, but it is going to be an extra blow against him. Give me a description for what
You
that
didn't say the
attack
Warhammer
is.
was like +1 or anything, did you?
It is +1.
Oh.
For spells. I don't know if I actually made it a +1. X is a holy symbol. No, it just adds the 1d8 radiant damage.
I'm just trying to. I just come down on his head. I just go. "Ugh."
Sweet. It slams him in the head. He looks a little disoriented. He's going to try to wrestle the axe out of your hands, Grollo. So give me another strength saving throw. But he's going to do his with disadvantage.
Come
That's basically what he's gonna have
on,
to spend his
Daddy.
turn doing.
Come on. Yes! Oh my gosh, that's 23.
That is definitely going to do it. You now have the axe.
Nice.
He spent his action trying to get the axe from you,
Feels
so
so good.
it did not succeed. The longsword guy, however, is going to turn around and he's going to attack you, Grollo. And he's going to hit with the longsword, and the spear guy is attacking you, Shoosh. And he hits.
Uh-oh.
Shoosh, you're going to take 5 damage, and Grollo, you're going to take 6 damage. And then you guys hear a strange sound. It almost sounds like a bird call. It's sort of like a and it seems to be coming from the smoke. And there's smoke just all over the city now. Like it has settled in. It makes it hard from your perspective now that you're down on the ground. It makes it hard to really see too far. But the whistling seems to come from kind of further ahead of you in the smoke. And then you hear a similar call coming from behind you. That again goes. And then all of a sudden, from out of the mist, you see
Pentel and his cap.
A familiar face, if a little bit bloodied, as you watch as Nicholas comes walking out of the mist, charging towards you, and with a sword in hand, leaps up and stabs the great axe guy in the back. And you watch as arrows fly from the smoke around you, pelting the longsword and spear orcs until they collapse down to the ground. And Nicholas picks himself up from the orc and pulls his sword out, and he says, "Boy, it's good to see you."
He's returned
I
at
knew
the
you'd
turn.
show up eventually.
Deus
you can
asked
see-
Nicholas.
Nicholas has an eye patch over one eye, and it looks like he has taken a blow to his head that may have cut him pretty deep. But he has the broadest smile on his face that you've ever seen Nicholas have, and he is still wearing his colors of Moradin as he is here. As he's here, coming to your aid. And from out of the smoke, you watch several other people who look all to be dressed as members of the Rogues Guild, coming to your aid, and sort of emerging from the smoke. And one of them says, "Is this him? Them? Is this them?" And Nicholas goes, "Yep. These are the ones." I gotta get Nicholas's accent. I haven't done it forever. Yeah, these are the ones who are finally gonna help us take back the city.
Nicholas the Brave, you made it. I'm so proud of you.
And he laughs and he goes, "Don't say that yet. I have a bit more to show you." And he motions for you to follow him. And he opens up a grate in the ground and jumps down into the sewer system below.
I jump after him.
Nicholas and all of the other people, they actually take the bodies of the orcs along with them. They sort of drag them down into the sewer grate, and you see all of them sort of disappear down into the sewer behind you. And Nicholas leads you a short way, and then he has a torch in hand, and it's clear that like everybody is following him. Nicholas has like become the leader of these people who are standing up, and he doesn't say a lot because it's not a very long journey. He eventually makes his way, and he says, "What when you left me down to bring the message here, nobody believed me. So I decided that I would take things into my own hands. And I contacted the Thieves Guild, and it was the best thing that I could possibly do. So I made my way down here, and we tried to save as many people as we could before any of the ceremony started. I didn't know what else to do." And he rounds the corner, and you can see a massive room, and there are tons of people here, all huddled. They look like townspeople, people who were clearly snatched up in the middle of their crafts, in the middle of their days, that Nicholas has brought here. And whether they were unhappy when he brought them here, they clearly aren't now. And you can see all they look is worried and scared. For the battle that is happening just a small street above them, in the city above them. And Nicholas says, "I saved as many as I could, but I don't know what to do with them now. My best bet is..."
You're a hero, Nicholas.
And he smiles, and he clasps you on the shoulder, and he says, "I just thought, what would Grollo do?" And he says, "My best bet that I can think of is we take him to the dock and get him out of here. But I don't know if you guys have a better plan than that."
Can you get him there underground?
The Thieves Guild says that the tunnels can lead to the docks, but we don't know what kind of resistance we're going to meet either on the way there or at the docks themselves. We're going to have to come up out of the ground eventually.
Is it safe to stay here?
He turns and somebody sort of whispers in his ear, and he goes, "No, it doesn't look like it. The orcs are already finding their way down here and figuring out that there are tunnels under the city, which they might not have known about originally."
Then go to the docks. Are there other warriors among you that can escort? Because we need all the help we can get against Lord Blancmere. Nicholas, will you join us?
He nods and he says, "It would be my honor."
And Nicholas, don't worry. We have a plan. The plan is we're going to go to Blancmere and we're going to take him out.
Nicholas stops and he goes, "I need to get these people to safety first. I've promised them that I would find them a safe passage, and I would be remiss. It would be not like Moradin to leave them here or to walk them into a trap that I didn't know about.
Very well.
After that, I would be happy to join you."
That makes sense.
Will you join me in making sure that we can get them to safety?
Can
Absolutely.
I ask you a question, though?
Yeah, of course.
I lean in and I whisper in his ear, "Do you have a low center of gravity?"
He goes, "Yeah, I guess so. I've got good balance."
Okay, good. Seems to be important around here.
You travel a short ways. Let's see. Do I have enough time for this? I think so. Okay. You travel a short ways through the tunnels.
Oh, sorry. One question. The axe. I took the axe, right?
You have the axe. You have a great axe now.
What's the Do you have the specs?
They do 1d. You can use the same attack bonus as your maul, and they do 1d12 damage instead of 2d6 damage, and then you can use the same plus bonus afterwards.
1d12 damage, and then plus the 3.
Yeah.
No, you're a +5 with it.
Oh,
yeah,
plus
3 damage.
Plus 3 damage.
So to hit is
plus five to
+5.
Yeah,
1d12
plus 5 attack
3.
bonus, and then plus 3. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nicholas leads you down the tunnels and towards the docks. You're actually on the edge of the city, so it's actually not that far a trek to get to the docks from here. Although the tunnels do seem a little more circuitous than taking the normal streets. But he does lead you through, and eventually he kind of points upwards to a grate that leads up into the docks themselves. And he says, with this, we get all the people on ships, we get them out of here, and then we go and take care of Blancmere. And he crawls his way up the ladder, and he starts ushering people up into the thing. You have a whole crowd of people that are following you through these hallways and through this whole thing. You estimate probably 100 people that Nicholas has saved, and he on the way there hints that there are several other sort of caches of people that he's helped get underground. So he may have saved hundreds of people in his efforts to save people from the attack that was coming. As you crawl up, you come to the docks, and the docks look empty. The ship's still intact. It is nighttime, and you can see over the ships around you. You can just make out with the starlight that's sort of coming through. There's no lamp lights that are lit. Clearly, nobody has taken the effort to do it, and the docks are devoid of people. But as you stand there, you see a sight that gives you sudden pause as people are climbing their way out of the grating, and you see ships on the horizon coming in, and they are unmistakably the shape of orc ships as they're making their way towards you. And you can see all of a sudden they start firing cannons directly in your direction. And the cannon fires light up the faces of the people on the ships in the nighttime, where only starlight shows them, and the cannons start destroying the ships in the docks at a rapid pace. And you can see there's probably a dozen orc ships on the water that clearly are targeting down the ships to prevent people from getting out of Pahiha.
Yikes! Oh no! They're attacking the ships.
Everyone roll me another perception check.
17.
6.
Your plus
15.
Grollo and Thrain, both of you notice two things. The first is there's no moon tonight. And the second is there's a mist that seems to be pouring in from the water. Pouring in from the side. Pouring in from nowhere.
Yeah.
And as the ships are getting destroyed in the docks with nobody to man them and no light to guide them, the mist seems to emit its own sort of eerie light from itself.
Is this what I think
and
it
you
is?
watch as the mist starts to overtake the orc ships, and then you see a familiar sight and a cheery yell come up from the water itself. A yell that just sounds like, "Yo-ho, it's on, boys!" And you watch as a ghost ship comes from the mist, plowing into the orc ships one after another. And with each ship that it plows into, it seems to pass right through it, and the ship erupts into flames as it does so. And you watch the pirates taking out a dozen orc ships in a row as it pierces through each of them, the mist following along with them, and you see the captain of the ship sort of lean off and wave in your direction, and he goes, "We'll eat bone bread for days, boys. It's time to take them in." And he waves, and then you watch the ship disappear into the horizon, having destroyed all of the orc ships on its path.
It's the Ghost Pirates!
Okay,
Yay!
listener challenge. If any of you can comment below to explain what just happened, you get 100 listener points.
And with that, I think that's where we're going to end the session for the day. You have ships that are remaining and an opportunity to get many people out of the city of Pahiha before you dive back into the battle that is before you. But since that's the end of our game, I would love to hear for our checkout today a spotlight that you have for somebody else and a prediction that you have for next time. Who wants to start us off?
Good. I could start the so the spotlight. So there were a couple of things I really enjoyed today. Well, there was several, but obviously the return of Nicholas was a huge highlight. That was quite unexpected. I mean, I didn't forget about Nicholas, but I sort of wasn't ready for it. So I was like, I was thinking we were gonna, and I'd just been rolling so terribly, and then it's like, oh my gosh! So I actually really in real life felt probably how Grollo felt, which was like this huge wave of relief, because like think about it, here goes Grollo. He's like he just gained this like new heroic might thing, and he feels really great, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, missing the throws, and he's like shown up by Shush. He can't even throw the stupid thing. Then he goes to attack this dude and like whiffs it, and then it's like nothing. And then he's getting stabbed, and then here comes Nicholas, and so that was really great. Just a great, moment. And then I wanted to give a shout out to Shush for forcing Grollo and actually all of us into the musical realm. I really enjoyed that. Like just throwing that fish so I could catch it.
Yeah,
and also like the setup of it was really funny because you're like, oh, it's like that song. How does it go, Grollo?
Yeah, my spotlight's around that sort of stuff. Berto just always dives right in. He doesn't stop to be self-conscious when he might benefit from that sometimes. Just joking. And similarly, when he's just like, I'm running after him, I want to do it. I like character play like that, where it's like spontaneous and realistic in some way, and because there's a tendency for at this stage to be like really careful and not to think as your character thinks, and to try to think more metagame. And so my highlight goes to Berto for those spontaneous moments. In terms of predicting how things will go, well, what's your prediction, Berto?
Oh, right, the prediction. By the way, one quick comment is because I've been trying really throughout from the beginning to be like reacting in the moment to what someone says or does in that childish way that Grollo would. So like I really did I did look to you. I'm like, oh, what if we did this? But then I took your kind of like, oh, because like you're trying to be nice to me, but unfortunately I took that as like, oh, okay, great, let's just do that. So I just thought that was perfectly what he would do when you gave him any slight reassurance. So my prediction, okay, so I think a couple things. So I think there's this wave of potential orcs that we could make see the light of day. So because if we really had to battle like everyone, even with the help of the other orcs, that'll be kind of disastrous. Plus so many deaths and stuff. So what I'm predicting / hoping is that with the might of sort of like the what is your god's name, Thrain? Moradin, yeah, our band thing. I keep forgetting. So with the might of Moradin and basically maybe because they see that, oh, this half orc is part of the thing, and I'm just hoping that we can, and that the other orcs are helping us, that we can maybe turn some to our side, and so then it really ends up being more of like the most loyal followers that we're up against, and then I think there's gonna be some death here. It was spelled out too by our DM, so I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not Grollo, but he seems to be very headstrong, so he might just leap high into something that he can't get out of. But we'll see. And one more prediction. I whether it's in my death throes or not, I believe Grollo may once again see Cruddy. I hope he does.
Yeah, I was thinking like, when's Cruddy going to show up, or what happened to her? What's her fate? I could see her being like the 24 daughter, where she's being sacrificed yet again, and we have to save her. But either way, I'm curious about her place in the story. I have a thing. I know. I don't want to I almost want to do earmuffs on Adam DM, because I have a plan, but it'd be like a plan that Grollo would have to tell everyone. So maybe I'll save it for next time, but I'm going to write it in my notes here. And the Loreleth orcs are presumably on their way. Who knows if they'll make it in time. we have Captain with his people. I'm thinking that at some point we have to. It's got to have the epic ending where we face off with Lord Blancmere and Groomsh, and how is that going to play out? Because he should be a very powerful fella, and my little third level cleric probably can't take him on, but he's going to try either way. Maybe Moradin will arrive, maybe Lorleth will arrive, maybe Cruddy is secretly some commando killer of some kind.
Is it bad if I suggest something right now to Shush? Is that bad because we're not role playing right now?
I mean, we're still on air. That seems
okay.
all right to me. Oh,
we lost
unless of course, Alberto, this is the secret. Is that he's going to disconnect right in that moment? We're all left in the cliffhanger of that moment.
It's just hilarious. So Umberto's frozen. We can't hear him anymore. He is by far the most intelligent person when it comes to computers and recording, and it's just like he's worse than my mom when it comes to using Zoom and recording. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, when now if my character dies, I would be perfect. My character and me would be perfectly happy with that ending. That would absolutely be worth it if it was for a good cause. I was extremely bothered by Star Wars Episode 9, in which no one got hurt really in the end except for Chewbacca. And I enjoy stories where there is that kind of epic sacrifice. So obviously I can't predict what's going to happen. Okay, well, Berto's back. Davis, what about you? What's your spotlight?
Spotlight today. There is a moment where this, I know often in Kingdom to Grow groups we don't spotlight the game master, but there was a moment where we had a conversation about bands, and I just was like, Adam, Adam was in character, so it was okay to improv with him like this, but I just like, what's the name of that band? And that was just an invitation to do some random improv. So I like that moment where we were just having a conversation around a campfire about the bands we used to listen to, and that was an invitation for open-ended roleplay, and Adam totally saw that offer and was like, oh yeah, the Generals. That was pretty fun. And then of course tossing that over to Grollo for the making up the song on the spot was pretty fun invitation. And then when Kirk, you threw that back at Shush to make up a song on the spot, it was just like one of those rare moments of group think at the same time. So that was the spotlight for the game for me. My prediction for the next time we play is, I think we're probably gonna see like I'm just like, there's so many nice cameos from so many of our characters from the past. I'm really hoping Cruddy comes back. I'm gonna predict that Cruddy's gonna come back with like some superpower Leapai. She was bit by a radioactive Leapai or something like that, and she is now has superpowers, and she's going to come in. Another one of these moments where the heroes are all down and out, and then like a flying, glowing Leapai smashes into the villain, and then Cruddy. That's my prediction.
Like
hopefully it's radioactive Leapais.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you catch what I was telling my idea for Shush to do?
No, you literally cut right in.
Gosh, so
it was
like,
literally like, I've got
idea,
this great idea.
freeze.
Here it is. And then you cut off right there.
What I was going to say was maybe Shush is going to recommend like, hey, what if Moradin plays? Like, what if Moradin plays to distract everyone? And like, since people like Moradin, like, we can get some of them on our side or something. So anyways, it was an idea.
We'll play. Oh yeah, we'll play.
So I'm thinking
I love it.
that might be fun.
Well, I think I'm gonna spotlight today specifically the songs that Alberto and Adam sang in character. I think that was really, really spectacular. I've been watching a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway, the British version, and Hoedown is like one of the most difficult games because making up a song on the spot is just so incredibly difficult. And I just really appreciate the both the vulnerability that takes to like step out and like be willing to say yes to that and jump in and make up a song, but also the like, I love the songs that you made up. They were fun little ditties and songs, and I hope somebody clips them from the episode, or maybe Kirk, maybe you can clip them from the episode, and we can have these songs kind of that we can have as a part of our lore of the world. These songs now exist in the world, so I really appreciate that. I predict a lot of what you predict may come true, but that brings us to the end of our game today. And I suspect we will be looking at a big finale in our game next time.
All right, everyone. So if you want to learn more about using Dungeons & Dragons in various different ways, whether it's with clients individually or group, or to build community, or in the classroom with your kids, or even just with your kids at home, you can go to gametogrow.org and learn more. And you can actually hire Adam to teach you. There are webinars afoot, and there are products to buy. So go to gametogrow.org. There's, we've been working on this nonprofit for a lot of years, and there's just a lot of resources available on gametogrow.org. Anything to add to that, Adams?
I would suggest, if people want to stay up to date with everything that we're doing, because we have new announcements happening almost weekly, to join our newsletter at gametogrow.org/newsletter. If you join that, you'll be able to learn a lot about the webinars that we offer, the training program we have in development, and all of the new and exciting things. I just sent out a newsletter today announcing a brand new initiative at Game to Grow where we are doing telehealth individual counseling services. So stay up to date with all the new and exciting things Game to Grow is doing in our newsletter, gametogrow.org/newsletter.
And everyone out there, please take care of yourself. Grollo and Shush, why should people out there take care of themselves?
Because they deserve it.
Wait, in song.
Because the greatest deserving that you'll ever know.